Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 658 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our ninth book just came out. It's called From Letters to Leaders, The Legacy of Service. So I want you to go and pick up that book on Amazon today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, we love seeing our podcast guests with all of their famous friends. And the next guest on our show has some great photos on her website with stars such as Kevin Costner, Charlie Sheen, Michael Richards from Seinfeld, and even Mario Lopez from X Factor. I have major celebrity envy right now. So let us meet our next guest. Ariel Vox is a dynamic speaker and a destiny designer. She combines her rich background in various fields to offer a unique perspective on overcoming fear and turning failure into success. Her diverse experiences led her to start her own business, which she sold for a seven-figure sum after just 2 years. Ariel loves to speak at events where she inspires others to stop doubting their dreams and start doubting their limitations. She captivates audiences with her stories and her practical advice. Welcome to the show, Ariel.
Hi, Michael. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Hey, it is wonderful to have you on the show. I'm so excited that we got connected, and I think you have so much to offer college students. And I want to get right into your system, which I think is completely fascinating. It's called Crack the Luck Code. What does luck actually mean in your framework? And why do you believe that luck can be engineered rather than left to chance?
Last time when we met, I didn't have a chance to tell you that I'm actually a professional magician. And Harry Houdini is the founder of my magic club. Harry had a unique skill. He could unlock any lock. And on the side, it seemed like magic, but actually, it was a system, it was a skill. Imagine having a manual that teaches you step by step how to turn salt into gold.
Nice.
So when you have a step-by-step process, that's the secret. People give us subtle signs all the time, and the luck code teaches you how to read them. Luck is an acronym, and it stands for 4 animals. And I've chosen to give them faces because human mind doesn't understand letters, numbers, or just abstract ideas. It understands faces, images, and stories. So L, you can never forget them because you can always go back to luck and remember. So L is the lion. A lion is a king. He's the natural leader, passionate, pure fire energy. So they're competitive, they're goal-oriented, but just step on their toes and you'll see their intensity. And then we have U, which is umbrella cockatoo parrot. So parrots are talkative, they're vibrant, they're easygoing, they're air. So lion is fire, but parrot is air. They bring lightness in any room they go into. They love the spotlight. And why umbrella cockatoo is important? Because it's not just any parrot, it's a parrot with an umbrella, with big personality, charismatic personality you can never forget. Then we have the corals. Coral is water. And why coral? First, because coral sits on the ocean bed, and it doesn't matter how big the thunderstorms on the surface, the coral always remains calm and peaceful. So coral is the harmonious, balanced personality. And also bear in mind, water always levels up. So that's the kind of coral personality. And then we have koala. What do we know about koala? First of all, they carry their babies in their pouch. So koalas are very motherly, very protective, but they can be over-worrying, over-analyzing. So that's the downside of it. And also koalas are very deeply analytical. Imagine the koala eating this eucalyptus all day long, chewing the eucalyptus. They can chew the same issue over and over again. So that's only the koala who could do that. So that's the basic of the luck code. But we
Wow.
can go in so much more depth, you'll be really surprised.
Yeah. Well, listen, I certainly now I can remember it and I can picture all of the animals. So I have a really good insight into the luck code already, which is great. Now you've had a very interesting journey. I mean, you've been building and selling a private label business. You've been a speaker. You've been an author. Talk to us about some of the lessons from entrepreneurship that have shaped all of these ideas behind your book.
Actually, I have two books and they're
Hmm.
completely different in character.
Hmm.
So, From Fear to Fierce, it's the book that describes my lessons, the lessons I learned from the business. Um, in very short, uh, if I have to describe it shortly, the main lesson is that in just 1 month, I became the market leader in my niche. And my biggest fear during the first year was that a new competitor will come and they will be stronger than me and they will swallow me. And it happened in the second year, and they tried to build reputation by destroying my reputation. But what happened during the first year, I had only one product. During the second year, I developed 33 products and 33 bundles. And my business was valued at 5 times more than what it was in the first year. So this would have never happened if I had a competitor who was kind to me.
Mm.
An eggshell has to break so that the little chick can go and see the wild world, the wide world. And Crack the Luck Code is the natural expression of who I am and my journey as a coach and a speaker and an author. Because previously I worked with products, now I work with people. And there are so many layers to people. And the better you understand them, the more you can help them.
Mm. Well, that's a good lesson there. I think all of that is very helpful. And being kind to your competitors, I completely agree with. I think that there's more than enough business for everybody out there. Just be kind to one another, and ultimately good things will happen. So I really like that. Now, you talk about four distinct personality patterns that respond to the same situation very differently. So, can you give our listeners a really quick overview of these four types in terms of how they react differently?
Yes, I will give you a situation. So
Yeah.
imagine it's your first day at university and it's the formal opening ceremony.
Hmm.
You will see the choral sitting at the back of the hall, reading at their notes or looking at the floor.
Hmm.
They would do anything possible to avoid the slightest intention of anyone starting conversation with them. They would want to drop it as quick as like a hot potato. And then we have the koala. They will also be at the back of the hall, but the difference is koala is the detective. So they will be looking at everybody, analyzing, oh, she has her lipstick is very red, or his clothes are very extravagant, or she's flirting with everybody in the room. So they're analytical. And then we have the parrot and the lion. They are both in the middle of the room. So the parrot is the loud one. It's impossible to miss them, and they will make like 15 new friends in 5 minutes. The lion is completely different. They're also in the middle of the room, but they're meeting and analyzing who is the powerful player, who should they form an alliance with, and they're quietly restructuring all the levels of the social um, hierarchy in the room.
Hmm.
So the same people, the same room, the same time, but four completely different priorities.
Nice, nice. I think I was sitting next to all four types when I was in graduation about a year ago, and I could see how everybody was reacting. Very interesting. And today's students, they're using tools like MBTI, DISC, Enneagram. How is your particular approach that you've come up with? How is it different from those, or maybe how is it simpler from understanding different people's personalities?
With my absolute respect to all personality systems,
Hmm.
we all step on the shoulders of giants. But all these systems are 70 to 100 years old, even older. And our society is changing every single day. So the span of attention is way shorter. So we need to be captivating, grabbing attention, and do it in a modern way. So the personality I describe as parrot in Myers-Briggs is called ESFP. So how quickly could you see someone and think, oh, they're an ESFP? You wouldn't do that, but you can instantly think, oh, they are very dominant parrot. dominant not in behavior but as a personality type, I mean.
Mhm.
Oh, if you think about the Enneagram, they will have even two names for each personality, which is total of 18 words you have to remember. I've done every possible effort to do it, to remember it, and it just doesn't stick to my mind.
Hmm.
And I have to remind myself what it is. It sounds complicated and it looks complicated and it doesn't need to be that complicated. And then we have systems like Colby and they describe it with numbers. So parrot would be 3845 or maybe 3485. I can't remember. So that's the benefit of the luck code. It makes it so natural to understand and to remember and to instantly implement. And if you think about the documentary Persona, they explain how personality tests can limit employees in workplace. Actually, the luck code empowers you to become the person you want to be, to transform if you need to, and to be able to communicate with others in a completely different way because you understand their personality, which we'll explore a bit later as well.
Hmm. Well, good for you for modernizing it. And you're right. I mean, if we look at Gen Z, their attention span is very short. So we have to be able to grab them right away. Otherwise, we're going to lose their attention and they're going to go somewhere else. So I completely agree with you there. There, we want to assess people's personalities, and I understand the reason why that might be helpful, let's say, in a team environment. But what are some of the common mistakes that people will make when they're trying to read somebody's personality in the first 5 minutes that they meet them?
The biggest mistake is that people actually don't attempt to read personality. They just don't even think about it. And why would they? Because if they have been trained with Myers-Briggs and it took them an hour to complete the test, how quickly can they see someone and just analyze their personality? They don't think that they can. So they just go into their default mode of being themselves. The problem with this is if you go to Italy, you don't speak German just because that's who you are. No, you buy a dictionary, you make sure you have good Wi-Fi so you can use your Google Translator.
Mhm.
So that's not about not being authentic. You're still authentic, but you also need to translate yourself in a way that others will understand.
Got it. That makes sense to me. Now, a lot of our listeners are in student organizations like fraternities, like sororities, and so they bring people together with very different personalities, all under one roof, one house. So, how can understanding all of these different personality types help people to improve the connection between organizations, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, and even the communication between people?
I'll start with a personal example, but then I'll give you an example specifically for universities.
Hmm.
So at the moment, I listen to podcasts like on a daily basis. It's like my daily bread. One of the podcasters, he speaks very slowly. The other one, he says 1,000 words in a minute. One is calm and gentle, typical choral. The other one is stern and direct, lion in his most raw form. The point is, when I met both of them for the first time, for both of them, I thought they're self-absorbed. Initially, I didn't want to listen to their podcast because the first one was speaking so slowly. So I thought, oh, he's very self-absorbed. The second one, he invited the first one to interview him, and he was asking questions and constantly interrupting and explaining his point of view. So I thought, oh no, he's self-absorbed. So you can see two completely different behaviors. I assumed they're coming from the same place. And actually, one is speaking slowly because his content is so deep. You need to understand it. The other one, he's so passionate, he's a lion, so he can't contain it. That's the reason. But unless you understand personality, you see behavior, but you don't understand the inner reasons behind it. And now let me give you an example specifically for universities. For example, you have a friend and you are someone full of enthusiasm and ideas, but your brother or sister comes to warn you about specific risks. And if you don't understand personality, you would instantly think they're just trying to kill my spark. Well, if you understand personality, you will understand that maybe you are a parrot and you are full of ideas, but you tend to overlook problems. Or maybe you are a lion and you actually love taking risks. But your friend, maybe they're a koala and they're very risk aware and they're very motherly as well, so they come to help you. Or maybe they're a coral and you understand that to them to come to tell you something like this is a huge sacrifice. They don't enjoy it. It's difficult for them to come and tell you, but they still do it because they love you. So when you understand personality, this can actually make the bond stronger.
Hmm. Wow, very well done. I like that a lot. So, from your understanding of all of these different personality types, what personality combinations tend to work well together in a leadership role in a student organization at a university?
Well, all combinations can work amazingly well, and all could be a recipe for disaster. So I compare the personalities to the four cardinal directions, news, north, south, north, east, west, and south. So I'll give you an example with the parrot. The east energy, that's the sun rising. And Parrot comes with new ideas all the time. Like the sun rises every day, and the parrot is full of ideas. Like there was a story about the enchanted forest, and the princess went and she saw so many beautiful flowers, and she picked them. But the moment she picked them, she looked deeper in the forest, and she saw more beautiful flowers. So she threw the old ones and went to pick other ones. And the deeper she went, the prettier the flowers became until she entered the enchanted castle. That's the problem with the parrot. They're constantly coming up with new ideas, but they can't complete on the new idea. That's the coral energy that is really good at providing sun during the day and setting in the evening, so completing. And the problem with south and west, you can go south and west forever. So you can go from Europe to Asia to America to Europe to Asia to America, and you will go in a circle forever unless you decide to stop consciously. And how can the parrot stop? They can think, I need coral energy to balance me. And by the way, notice that if you go north, there will be a point when you reach the North Pole, and anywhere you look, it will be south. So the north direction forces you to go south at some point. But east and west don't do that. So you need to do it consciously. And how can the parrot do it? Option one, find a partner who is a coral, so you balance each other. But option two, develop the coral qualities, which you need to do in either case, actually. And this sounds like heaven, but the big recipe for disaster here is that if you don't understand the personality of the other person, here is what happens. The parrot would always steal the spotlight from the coral, and the coral will keep quiet but will grow resentful. And at some point, the coral will think, why should I do the work when someone else will get the laurels? Also, the parrot is very positive and inspired, but they overlook red flags, whilst the coral will spot the red flags instantly, but they don't like conflict, so they will keep quiet. So if you don't know this, it doesn't matter that the coral can balance the parrot because he wouldn't speak. So you need to make an effort in this direction. And then the coral will think that the parrot will think that the coral is boring, whilst the coral will think that the parrot is just daydreaming and superficial. So once you understand personality, you can make a superpower couple. But if you don't understand it, even the best combination becomes the worst combination.
Very helpful. All right. Well, I'm happy I asked the question. That's very helpful. Let's talk about interviews and job interviews because a lot of our listeners, they're in college, they're getting ready to go into their careers, they're going to be in an interview situation with somebody trying to get a job. And you mentioned that understanding people's personalities can actually be game changing in a job interview situation. So, how can the college students who are listening right now, how can they quickly read the personality type of an interviewer?
Yeah. So there are three steps to this. Number one, when you say understand personality, and people instantly think, oh, I need to understand their whole history and their dominant personality throughout their life. That's not what you need to do at all, because maybe this person is a dominant lion when they're at work, but they go home and their wife tells them off for putting their socks on the floor.
Hmm.
So that's none of a business. You don't need to be worried. Also, people change personality expressions. That's why I don't call them personalities. They're just energy that exists in all of us. They can change it from minute to minute, and also through traumatic life events. Like I had a car accident when I was 16 months old. Before the car accident, I was the most smiling, happy, cheerful parrot that could possibly exist. But after the car accident, I stopped talking completely. Then I stuttered. You can see the darkness on my face. And parrot energy was the most difficult for me to master, actually, even up to like a couple of years ago. So you don't need to worry about the history, and in general, you only think what they're expressing in the moment. So instantly, the big chaos gets into a funnel. So you only think about the moment. You don't care about any other time. What are they showing in the moment? And the first question you need to ask, are they slow or are they fast? Because if you think of a lion, lion runs, lion is fast. If you think of a parrot, parrot flies. So parrot is fast. But coral, it stays in one place on the ocean bed, so coral is slow. And koala? Koala just sits on the tree and hardly ever moves, so koala is very slow too. So first question, are they fast? Are they slow? If they're fast, instantly it's a parrot or lion. Slow, coral or koala. Very easy. And now you just have to lower it down to one more. And here is how. If they're parrot, they will be light, smiling, they'll be making jokes. Just imagine the parrot with open wings. So they have open body language. If they're a lion, they'll be serious, they'll be brief, up to the point, a little bit intimidating. Like if you see a lion in the jungle, you wouldn't dare going and hugging them, right?
No.
But you would dare hugging the parrot. That's how you recognize, super easy. Is it friendly, talkative, making jokes, parrot, or is it serious, lion? And now koala and coral, also very easy to recognize. Koala is the detective. They will be asking 1,000 of questions. They will care about your great grandfather on your mother's side and your best friend in kindergarten. And you wouldn't be able to understand how is this relevant to the job interview. They want to know because they see patterns that other people can't see.
Mm.
And then if it's the coral, they will be a little bit reserved. See, the lion is also reserved, but in a completely different way, in a serious, distanced way, whilst the coral will be reserved, but more in a shy way. But they will be constantly asking, did you have your water? Is your coffee warm? Is your chair comfortable? They would want to make you feel comfortable, whilst the lion will make you feel slightly uncomfortable. So if they are coral and you are a parrot with your open body language, don't go and hug them because they would not appreciate that. But if the situation is in reverse and they're the parrot and you're the coral and you're sitting like that with closed body language, they will be suspicious. You need to speak their language. So how do you do that? Very, very easy. They have open body language, you have open body language. They laugh, they make jokes, you laugh at their jokes. Doesn't matter if you can make jokes or not. You just laugh at their jokes. And also, if you're a lion, you would be focused on performance and results. But they might perceive you as a single player, as a little bit arrogant, dominant. They don't want that. So you need to match what they want. And they want team culture. They want to be a team leader of a good team. So you need to speak about how you, for example, helped a colleague in a difficult situation. So you need to have 4 stories in your mind. And if the person is a lion, you tell them how you helped, what kind of results you achieved in the previous company. If they're coral, you simply explain how there was a conflict and you helped for the conflict to be resolved. So you need to match the personality and speak their language so that they can feel on an intuitive level that you're the right person.
Wow, that's fascinating. Very nice. All right. Well, now we have four stories
Mhm.
that we have to come up with for every interview situation.
Just
Okay.
for
Well, yeah, I think that's excellent advice. Really good stuff. Now, many of the college students, they have problems today. Some of the issues relate to things like procrastination. Maybe they're very stressed. So stress and anxiety is a big issue with college students today. Or, I mean, just look at what's happening all over the world right now with the economy and wars and all kinds of things. These college students have a lot of uncertainty about what the future looks like. They have no idea what is waiting for them on the other side. So, how does your system help people to overcome all of these challenges?
Well, it's hard to believe, but actually, just simple awareness solves 90% of the problem. It's exactly like when you put the light in the room, the darkness disappears instantly or almost instantly. And the reason I say almost is because we also have habits. The problem is not just in the awareness, but also in the habits. So once you get the awareness, which is 90% of the problem, trust me, once you can see this, you can easily uh, resolve it. But then the habit, you need to pause and think and change your reaction. This might take you a little bit of time depending on the situation, but that's the answer. And bear in mind, when you cut your finger, your body has natural intelligence how to heal the finger. And when you have a situation like this, your emotion, your soul has natural intelligence how to deal with the situation. But you need to know who you are and you need to clearly see uh, the situation and how you are expressing it. And let me just give you an example, which each one of the things you said. For example, if you feel uncertain about the future, maybe this is because you don't think you are as good as your peers. That's a problem that the koala would have. That's not a problem that lion would have. Lion would never think they're not as good as their peers. So once you understand that, you just need the opposite energy. You need to somehow enter, allow this, welcome this opposite energy in your life. And for example, you're stressed. Maybe this is because you are achieving goals, but not fast enough. See, lion is the only one who cares about achieving their goals fast enough because they're goals oriented. And then maybe you are procrastinating. But is it because you do the work and others get the applause? We mentioned it already, that's the coral energy. So once you recognize it, you need to do something about it. And as I said, your natural soul intelligence will lead you because we all have different ways to achieve what we need, but 90% of the knowledge, 90% of the resolving of the problem is the knowledge. And just bear in mind, young people do this way easier than us in our 40s or 50s or later.
Yeah,
So
very
that's
good.
the positive thing.
That's a positive for all the young people who are listening right now. Well, listen, I learned an awful lot today. I'm really grateful that we had the time to kind of go through the luck code. I think this is very interesting, and I can see how it can help college students today very much. So I think that's absolutely amazing. So, where can all of our listeners, if they want to learn more about you, and maybe they want to go and buy the book is called Crack the Luck Code. You also have the other book that you wrote. It's called From Fear to Fierce. So if they want to go and buy these books or learn more about you, where should they go?
Both books are on Amazon
Mhm.
and also on my website, arielvox.com. On the website, there are links to Amazon links for the books, but also if they register on the website, they will receive a free material, some free material, how to identify their own personality. So they're welcome to do that as well.
Very good. Hey, Ariel, I have one more question for you. What is my personality type? We've spent 30 minutes together. I'm sure you've analyzed me already, right?
Well, you just have to tell me fraternity foodie. There is nothing in the world that is more coral than that. So, Coro, I also compare the personalities to the four card suits because I'm a magician and
Yep.
I love cards. So, you know the card suits spade, heart, clubs, and diamonds. So the clubs is the coral, and coral is all about clubs. And also the club sign is what? Three equal leaves.
Yeah.
So the coral is not about competition. The parrot would want to be the spotlight on the spotlight. So
Mhm.
they also want community, but they want to be the community leader. Whilst the coral finds protection in being part of the whole. And also clubs in the card suits is the clover. And clovers, they're all the same and they grow in patches and
Mm.
they protect each other this way. So that's the coral personality. That's why fraternity is such a meaningful world, a meaningful word for who you are. And then foodie. See, everybody loves food in a different way. So the lion eats food because they eat in a functional way. They want to be productive. So they eat so they can be productive. So I eat proteins because I want to go and do achieve my goals. I drink coffee because I don't want to sleep. That's the lion way. Then for the parrot, it's the social way. For the koala, they may eat when they're depressed, so to numb their pain. But the coral just loves food. Coral doesn't need a reason to love food. They can do it when they're happy, when they're not happy, when they have a reason, when they don't have any reasons at all.
Uh-huh.
So again, um, this is a specific situation. Normally, I only need to judge your personality in the moment. I don't need to know your history, but in your case, it's quite clear.
This was the most obvious question in the world for Ariel. She's
Exactly.
like, all right, the podcast is called Fraternity Foodie, your club.
Yeah, all about brotherhood, sisterhood. That's the coral energy.
It's coral energy, for sure, for sure. You're absolutely right. All right. Well, listen, you've certainly unlocked my code very easily. So I'm sorry I didn't have a better challenge for you today. I'm sorry. It was so easy. But this was a lot of fun for sure. So thank you, Ariel, so much for being on the show. The website, of course, is arielvox.com. So that's ARIELVOX.com. Go to the website. You can learn more about Ariel. You can learn more about the luck code. You can also go and buy her books called Crack the Luck Code, or the other book is called From Fear to Fierce. Thank you so much, Ariel, for being on the show today.
Can I just tell you one thing? I think it will be really suitable for the moment. I chose my name, Ariel Vox, because Ariel means the voice, Vox is the voice, Ariel is the lion, the voice of the lion. And this was in a moment when I was full of fears. So I needed the opposite energy. So I
Mm.
chose the voice of the lion.
Very nice. Well, listen, it's a very suiting name for you, so certainly makes a lot of sense to me. So I appreciate that. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation with Ariel, and I think you did, I want you to share this episode with your entire fraternity or sorority chapter. Put a link in the group chat, share it on social media. You really never know who needs to hear Ariel's message today. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.